Imagine sitting across from a bankruptcy lawyer and realizing halfway through the consultation that this is someone who doesn't understand your situation. Hiring them could cost you time, money, and peace of mind. Fortunately, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what questions to ask to avoid that mistake and help you hire the right bankruptcy lawyer. Coming up in this video, you'll discover the 3 things people wish they had known before they hired a bankruptcy attorney and the 5 questions they need to ask in order to learn them. First, how to figure out whether a lawyer truly has the right experience for your specific situation, because not every attorney handles cases the same way. Second, whether bankruptcy is the right solution for your situation, including whether your debts can be discharged and whether your home or your car are at risk. And finally, we'll talk about cost, what's included, what isn't, and how to avoid being blindsided by unexpected fees. By the end, you'll know exactly how to walk into that first consultation confident and prepared. Before we get into the 5 questions, though, it's important to understand why these questions matter so much. Bankruptcy is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. The lawyer you choose will determine whether your assets are protected, whether your case runs smoothly, and whether you get the discharge you need. Think of it like your home. If you needed electrical work done, you wouldn't hire a handyman who only fixes loose hinges or wobbly shelves just because he does home repairs. He might be great at small jobs, but if he touches your wiring without the right training, he could cause real damage. Hiring the wrong bankruptcy lawyer works the same way. A lawyer who only files a couple cases a year or just dabbles can miss things that put your home, your car, and or your money at risk. That's why you need to ask the right questions. The first question is, how much experience do you have with cases like mine? Don't stop at how long have you been practicing. Ask how long you've been handling bankruptcy cases. How many consumer bankruptcy cases do you file each year? And what percentage of your work is bankruptcy? If you have home equity, car equity, a recent lawsuit, or a higher income, you need someone who has handled cases like yours many times before. Here in New Jersey, it also helps if the lawyer knows the local trustees and how federal exemptions are usually applied. A small example: someone with borderline home equity might think they're fine, but an inexperienced lawyer could misjudge the numbers and put that home at risk. A red flag here is when a lawyer says something like, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out later." The second question is, which chapter should I file and why? Choosing between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 affects everything: which assets you keep, how your debts get handled, and what your finances look like after the case. A good lawyer should explain the reasoning clearly, based on your income, expenses, assets, exemptions, and your goals. They shouldn't automatically push one chapter for everyone. In New Jersey, people use, as I said, federal exemptions, and home and car equity are major factors in choosing the right chapter. A simple example is someone with too much home equity for Chapter 7 who needs a Chapter 13 plan to protect the house. A red flag is when a lawyer can't explain the difference in plain English. The third question is, will I lose my home, my car, or other assets if I file? This is the fear people lose sleep over. Most folks in New Jersey don't lose their home or car in bankruptcy, but only if the exemptions are applied the right way and the case is filed at the right time. Ask the lawyer how your home equity and car equity will be protected. Ask how they'll value your home and your vehicle. In New Jersey, as I said, we use federal exemptions, and things like the wild card exemption can make a big difference. Trustees here vary in what they expect and how they look at equity, so ask how your specific trustee usually handles these issues. A small example is someone whose car value bumps just above the exemption limit. The right lawyer can usually fix that. A red flag is when a lawyer says, "You're probably fine," without running the real numbers. The fourth question is, will all my debts be discharged? And what debts won't be? Not every debt goes away in bankruptcy. A good lawyer should ask you about recent credit card use, personal loans, taxes, student loans, child support, and even whether anyone has accused you of fraud. These details matter. Here in New Jersey, people often have issues like property tax arrears, student loan balances, or insurance surcharges, and those need to be analyzed. A simple example is someone who used their credit card heavily right before filing. That can be a problem if the lawyer doesn't catch it. A red flag is when a lawyer says, "Don't worry, all your debts will be discharged," without asking questions. The fifth question is, what will this cost and what does the fee include? You need to know exactly what you're paying for. A flat fee should cover things like preparing and filing your petition, answering trustee requests for information, and going to the trustee meeting with you. Some lawyers charge extra for amendments, reaffirmation agreements, or additional motions. In New Jersey, Chapter 13 fees follow local guidelines, so if a fee looks unusually high, you should ask why. A red flag is when a lawyer won't explain the cost clearly. And understand that in New Jersey, it depends upon the area of New Jersey where you are. In southern New Jersey, the attorneys usually charge a flat fee for bankruptcies, and they'll tell you exactly what it costs and what it covers. In areas of North Jersey, for example, they might do it by the hour and charge you an hourly rate, so it'd be hard to know exactly what the cost is going to be. As you ask these questions, bring a written list with you to stay focused and pay attention to the answers. If you hear things like, "We'll deal with that later," or "everything gets wiped out," or "don't worry about the exemptions," those are warning signs. Now that you know the 5 most important questions to ask a bankruptcy lawyer before hiring them and before filing, the next thing you'll want to understand, especially if you're here in New Jersey, is how bankruptcy affects your home and your car. These are the 2 assets people worry about losing the most, and the protections work differently in every state. So I created 2 short videos that walk you through exactly how these issues work in New Jersey. One explains when you can keep your home, and the other breaks down what happens with your car, including how exemptions and equity really work here. If you want real peace of mind before you take the next step, watch these next.